MARVIN REDPOST, A Flying Birthday Cake by Louis Carr. Chapter 2. A very normal third grader. Nick's birthday party was on Saturday. On Monday, a new kid came to Marvin's school. Mrs. North introduced him to the class. Everybody, this is Joe Normal. Joe Normal stood at front of the room next to Mrs. North. He wore baggy pants, untied sneakers, a Mickey Mouse t-shirt, and a Dallas Cowboys cap. He looked just like a normal third grader. "Where are you from, Joe?" asked Mrs. North. Earth," said Joe. "Just like you." Mrs. North laughed. "Good answer," she said. "But really, what city?" "City?" asked Joe. Marvin could tell Joe was nervous. He knew he'd be nervous too. If he had to move someplace and go to a new school. Chicago, Joe said. Located on the southwest shore of Lake Michigan, it's the largest city of Illinois. "What a show-off," whispered Casey Appleton, the girl who stood next to Marvin. "Chicago is a beautiful city," said Mrs. North. "I'm surprised you're a Cowboys fan, Joe. I would have guessed you'd like the Bears." Joe bit his lips and shrugged. Marvin was surprised Mrs. North knew so much about football. "Well, it's nice to have you with us," said Mrs. North. "I think you'll like it here." "Thank you," said Joe. "You seem like a good teacher. I want to learn as much as I can." Nick groaned loudly. Mrs. North gave Nick the look. Then she turned back to Joe and said, "I like your attitude, Joe. Why don't I put you next to Nick? Maybe some of your good attitude will rub off on him." Nick groaned again. Nick sat several desks away from Marvin. He turned toward Marvin and whispered something to him, but Marvin couldn't get what he said. It might have been, "What a jerk," or "What a nerd." He knew what was something. Joe sat next to Nick. "We've been studying mammals," said Mrs. North. "Who can name a kind of a mammal?" Marvin raised his hand, but Mrs. North called a Casey. "Bears," said Casey. That was what Marvin was going to say. He lowered his hand. But Mrs. North continued to call other children. "Lions," said Clarence. "Rabbits," said Heather. "Humans," said Stuart. Mrs. North liked that answer. "Very good one, Stuart. People are mammals too. How about you, Joe?" Sure, I'm a mammal," said Joe. Mrs. North smiled. "No, I mean, can you name another kind of mammal?" "Oh," said Joe. Oh, I know. What's that one? It is big and fat and has a really long nose." "You mean an elephant?" asked Nick beside him. "That's it!" exclaimed Joe. "I couldn't remember what they're called." "Thanks." "Duh," said Nick. "That's not nice, Nick," said Mrs. North. "I'm sure there are times you have forgotten words." "I never forgot an elephant," said Nick. "Well, there aren't a lot of elephants in Chicago," Joe explained. "Like they are here," said Nick. Marvin felt bad for Joe. He knew what it was like to forget a word. Once he couldn't think of the word parade. Mrs. North reminded the class that there will be a test on Wednesday. She asked if anybody had any questions. Joe raised his hand. Mrs. North smiled at him. "Yes, Joe? How much does a human brain weigh?" Mrs. North thought a long time, then said, "That won't be on the test."